Good morning everyone. Today we're going to be making us some homemade tomato gravy, some easy homemade biscuits, and the best fluffy scrambled eggs you've ever eaten. Start out with, we're gonna start out making our biscuits first. I'll start out with about 2 cups of self-rising flour. If you don't have self-rising flour, you can use all-purpose flour. As long as you got a little baking powder to add in it. I'm gonna add about 3/4 of a teaspoon of some type of cooking oil. And you take your milk and you just start pouring your little milk. I like using a fork when I'm mixing these up. These are easy homemade biscuits because you ain't having to touch your flour and get it all over your hands. At the camp we call these cat head biscuits because we make them so big. You just get that there. Mix it around, make sure you ain't got no dry flour left in there. And while you're doing this, you get your oven preheating, 350, 375. Most time I do them on 350 degrees. You get that mixed up, or like no dry flour in there. Then I'll take me a little spoon and I grease my skillet. Best thing to do these in is in a cast iron skillet. Get your biscuits. Kind of get you what I'd call a tennis ball size. And you just kind of drop them down in that skillet and get them round as you can. And you get you another little ball about this same size. Now the shapes and the size of the biscuit don't really matter, but you need to try to get your biscuit dough here about the same height on all your biscuits so they'll cook evenly. You could take you another little spoon. Take you another spoon or a fork or something and rake that off for sticking to your drop spoon. Some people call these drop biscuits. But let me tell you, make some good biscuits if you ain't never made homemade biscuits. And like I said, you ain't getting all messy putting flour on your hands. But you see that there was about, I said y'all, that ain't but about a cup of flour. That's a half a cup I was dipping that out with. So that's about a cup to a cup and a half of flour, and it's gonna make 4 good sized biscuits. Now we're gonna put our biscuits in the preheated oven. And while they cooking, we're gonna get started making our homemade tomato gravy out of these tomatoes that I canned this last summer. Get these in the oven so they can start doing their thing. And then we're gonna get started on making us some homemade tomato gravy. I'll start out with about 1/8 of a cup of cooking oil, and you can use whatever kind of cooking oil you fry with: vegetable oil, canola oil, peanut oil, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, any kind of oil you want to start with. And I'll start getting my grease there a little bit hot. While my grease is getting hot there, I get me some good hot water. But when you're making gravy, you don't want to pour cold water in there as you're making it. You want your water to be hot. So we're going to put us about 3 tablespoons of flour in this oil. And this is where you get your brown from, browning your flour. And what's really good, if you done fried you some bacon that morning, or done fried you some ham, and I have done it sometimes with grease that I fried other meat, like deer meat. Use that little bit of that grease with that browns from your bacon or other meats. If you just kind of stir this around. I ain't trying to make dark brown gravy, not from a tomato gravy. You gotta watch it. You gotta pick it up if it starts getting too hot, and turn your heat back down. This is why I really like doing everything in cast iron. I can control it better than these pretty pots and pans they sell nowadays. Then this is where you get it. Turn your fire back up and start getting it hot, but not to the scorching point. And then you go pouring your hot water and stirring at the same time. Don't stop stirring. Just don't stop stirring. Keep it stirring. Turn the heat back down just a little bit. At this point, I like to go on and give me just a little dash of pepper. Pepper it to your taste. I use about a half teaspoon. About a half teaspoon salt. Like I said, salt and pepper just to everyone's taste. I like to do it a little bit on the not use much, because someone who don't want salt and pepper, they ain't, or if you want more, you can add it on to it as you put it on your plate. But food don't taste good if you're cooking it and you don't put no seasonings in it as you're cooking it. You add them seasonings to it as you're cooking it, it cooks into it. Alright, after you got your flour, and I let my salt and pepper kind of have time there to cook in a little bit. At this point is where I get out my jar of canned tomatoes that I canned this summer from my tomatoes I raised in the garden. And you just dump that whole little jar right in there. This is a pint jar. When I can tomatoes, these tomatoes are what they call Roman tomatoes. They are real good tomatoes to can with. Make sauces out of. So I kind of use my spatula here and kind of cut them up a little bit. I like some little chunks of tomatoes in there, but I don't want no whole tomato. And then I'm going to add about a teaspoon more black pepper, so that's approximately about a teaspoon and a half. Alright, I then brought that back up to where it's starting to simmer and boil around a little bit. So all I'll do at this point, guys, is just let it sit there and simmer a little bit. Sometimes I'll put a lid on it, but I'll leave the lid cracked. And I turn my heat down low. You need to just sit there and simmer and keep it warm till your biscuits is done and you get your eggs scrambled. Oh yeah, biscuits is looking good. I'm gonna take these biscuits out and set them over here. This is what I like about cast iron. The biscuits, most people like them like that, but I go on and flip them over. That cast iron skillet's still hot and it'll brown the top of them just a little bit more while they just sitting there. And next up, we're gonna scramble our eggs. This is gonna show you how to mix up to make fluffy scrambled eggs. And I think I have a double yolk egg my chickens laid. For you uns out there that ain't never seen a double yolk egg. Next up, we finna scramble our eggs. Guys, this here is gonna be some of the fluffiest scrambled eggs you've ever eaten if you'll try this. I think what y'all finna witness here is a double yolk egg if you've never seen one. This is a regular egg. And this is, I've got a chicken out there about once a month, it'll lay a double yolk egg. That's a big old egg. These are fresh out of the chicken nest. Let's crack this egg here and let's see. Show you guys. Look at there. That is a double yolk egg. 2 yolks and 1 egg. I know it's a lot of people's never seen a double yolk egg. But I'm gonna actually scramble up 4 eggs. So there's 2 in 1 right there, and this makes 3. And what's 3 in 1? 3 and plus 1, I think that adds up to 4. But what I like to do, I like to take a fork, or you can take a little whisk, but I like using a fork. Get that egg good and scrambled up. Get it to where your yolk and your white looks like one. Now here's where this is gonna make this egg the fluffiest scrambled egg. It'll be soft and fluffy. Use some mayonnaise. What we got here is mayo olive oil. Olive oil is good for you. And I know some of you saying, what? Well, even if you don't like mayonnaise, you try this, because you're not going to taste the mayonnaise in this egg. Get that teaspoon of mayonnaise right in there. And then you take approximately 1/8 of a cup of milk and pour right in there with them eggs. And then you go to whisking again. And you whisk and whisk and whisk until that turns out to one pretty consistency. With that mayonnaise and that milk. Now to scramble these eggs, I got 1 teaspoon of organic coconut oil, but you can use any kind of oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, olive oil. And I've come to where I really love this coconut oil. Kind of stir it around so it greases the bottom of your pan good. I got my heat on, but you don't scramble eggs over high heat. I go to medium low. Pour them eggs right in there. I'll turn my heat up. I didn't quite get it up. We want to start out on about half heat, and then we'll turn it back down. But like I said about the mayonnaise, if you don't like mayonnaise, you ain't gonna taste this. When you cook recipes or you go places to eat, there's stuff in your food that they use to cook it with that if you knew it, you're gonna say, I ain't eating that. Well, it's used in the recipe, so you're not gonna taste it. And you've eaten stuff that you don't like put in recipes, especially if you went to restaurants where the chefs is cooking, because they got all kind of little tricks. But anyhow, you ain't gonna taste the mayonnaise in this. But I like my scrambled eggs sometimes. Just don't make me a scrambled egg sandwich and I always put bread with mayonnaise and the scrambled eggs on it anyways. But anyway, we're starting to warm up here. So, just kind of stir them around till my pan starts heating up. Like I said, you don't want to heat your pan up too fast though, it'll start scorching the bottom of your eggs. We got our homemade biscuits sitting here, waiting on our scrambled eggs. We got our tomato gravy sitting over here, staying on simmer, keeping it good and warm. Boy, if you ain't never eaten no tomato gravy, you don't know what you're missing. And just like tomato gravy, if you don't really like eating a fresh tomato, that don't mean you won't like tomato gravy, because it ain't like a strong tomato taste. Not the way we make it. Some people makes it where they use just pure stout tomato juice, and yeah, it's too strong. This here's one you use the juice that's canned in the jar with the tomatoes, and it ain't so stout. Take that tomato gravy and put over that homemade biscuit. I'm gonna turn my heat up just a little bit. I forgot I'm cooking over here on this little burner, so y'all can see this. Now guys, that right there is some fluffy scrambled eggs. I'm gonna throw me a little dash of pepper. I ain't gonna put no salt on. I'm trying to cut back on the salt. So we're gonna fix this plate. We get that homemade biscuit. Easy homemade biscuit. Get you some of that tomato gravy. Put it over that biscuit. Got them little chunks of tomatoes. You like some little chunks, dip you out some little chunks. If you don't, just get your gravy part out. Like I said, this ain't like thick brown gravy. You kind of make it thin, but if you like yours thicker, you can make it thicker just by adding more flour in the start. Give me some scrambled eggs. And guys, I'm gonna do something a lot of you guys ain't never seen. And if you ain't never done it, one morning just try it just to see. Put about half, not even a half a teaspoon of ketchup on your eggs. Guys, this here is a good breakfast. If you ain't ever eat ketchup on your eggs, you need to try it one time. Soft, fluffy, scrambled eggs. Man, wish y'all had a bite of that. Tomato gravy on easy homemade biscuits. Now guys, that's good eating. Thank y'all for watching. If you like these videos, give me a thumbs up. Have a great day.